Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Becky, and apparently I'm not going to be able to sleep and need to ground this energy, so I'm going to go ahead and make another video. And this one I thought I would talk a little bit of my reflections on heaven and hell. Because I get people who will ask my opinion on that, and so I figure I'll go ahead and channel a quick little download for you. Let's start off with a story in that I was working at a high school down in Terre Haute, Booker T. Washington. Shout out, I love that team. And I had a classroom that was self-contained, and that meant that the students that were working in there were either dangerous to themselves and others, or had, like police records, and had other service providers that had to come into the school building, like police officers and social workers and different things, because they had such intense needs, which that was what my whole passion is creating these alternative learning environments full of safety and warmth, and wrapping you full of God's love in his presence. And in the school systems, you can't use the word God. So over my teaching career, started in 1999 was when I first started teaching. And throughout that time of being able to cultivate my gifts, I was able to learn how to create a safe space, to create a container for individuals to be able to grow, not only physically and mentally, but also spiritually, to be felt, seen, heard, and validated. Cures so many hurts on an inside level that unlocks more ability for healing to happen in other ways. It becomes like a domino effect. And so anyway, one of the students one time, he was in some serious trouble with getting thrown back into JDC, so he was running away. And but he knew that my classroom was a safe space. I said, and he only had to show up for like 3 hours. I said, at least for that 3 hours of the day, you know that I'm going to be able to feed you. We're going to have a few laughs. We're going to get a little work done. We're going to make a little progress during that 3 hours. I know the rest of your time is going to be in survival mode, trying to figure out who you got to fight off, how you're going to live, where you're going to go. I get it. And the systems are broken, and they're not fixing the problem, and you're having to deal with things that no teenager should have to deal with. And so he decided he wasn't going to work that day, and he put his head down. He's like, needs to be a day where I can just, decompress. I'm like, cool. When you're ready to do some work, let me know. He's like, and again, this is the kind of space that I give, for this hurting 14, 15-year-old young man who is suffering all kinds of tremendous abuse in the world. And he looked at me, he's like, yeah, I just kind of wish that I didn't have to, go through life, because I'd rather just burn in hell, than have to keep dealing with this. And I chuckled at him, and I said, hey, what makes you think we aren't already in hell? Come on. And he kind of laughed, and I said, it's a perception. I said, you're right. A lot of life feels like you're trapped in hell, and we have to find a way to take advantage of every glimmer, right? So every time something good happens, latch onto that. I know it doesn't happen often for some people, and some people it'll happen once. They'll only get to see the light once and feel what it feels like to be in the presence of someone who is truly in their divinity. And that is an amazing gift. It's an amazing experience to get to have a conversation with someone like that. And then you never get to see them again, and that can also be heartbreaking. But we have to learn detachment. When we're in our divinity, that means that we are standing firm and rooted, that we want to teach people that you can experience hell on earth, or you can experience heaven on earth, depending on your spirit, depending on your mindset, depending on how you move in the earth. If you are graceful, if you are, what is the phrase? If you are in the world but not of it, then you are going to have the best experience. And when you're on your deathbed, you're going to be like, man, what a ride. That was great, And But if you chose darker paths and you know, and that's okay if you do, you know, because we all are here to learn and grow and explore. But if we don't then heal, so let's say you decide you're going to try, you know, going down a certain path that God keeps warning you not to go down, but now you're so far down it that you're in the corner and you're like, I don't know who I could talk to about it. Please schedule a free consultation so we just have a quick chat about what's going on and how I can help. All right. I'm probably going to do another message, I'll be honest. I don't even drink coffee or caffeine. It's the wildest thing. Once you get the Holy Spirit that's got lit you up from the inside and you just want to like keep spreading it around. I'm trying to learn to channel it and to be more productive. I know I've already got a couple books that are, you know, still in process. I got ones that I'm writing, ones that I'm publishing, ones that are out there, and you know, being a one-man show right now, my to-do list is long, and I just got to make sure that I keep moving forward and keep you moving forward along with me, because in the Holy War, we're all responsible for carrying our own emotional backpack. But I'm a firm believer that no man should be left behind. So if you're struggling to carry your pack and I'm strong enough to help you out for a minute, I can help shoulder some stuff a little bit, but you have to be doing the work so that way I'm not carrying your weight. Okay? All I can do is just be a shoulder to lie your head on, and like, you know, someone that's going to be a safe person that's going to tell you it's okay, you're going to get through it, and then give you some serious wisdom to be able to help you to get through it. Not just the pep talk, but then I give you the strategies, and then I give you the tools, because remember, I have a very much a military mindset. That's how I survived. You know, I have a century on this planet with people trying to kill me, and now I'm in a point where God's like, touch not my anointed, and no weapon shall prosper, and I can breathe again. And I know now that I've always had that, but knowing that when you're spiritually gifted and you know what you know, it can really be distracting from your 3D avatar being able to function in the realities that it needs to, because sometimes the Holy Spirit's teaching you patience and teaching you to work on yourself instead of trying to work on others, and really owning that radical self-acceptance, and then looking, what can we do moving forward? And for me, getting used to the unknown has been terrifying. I started this adventure with God. God hired me in June of 2023 to do this business, Homans Consulting LLC. And I have been like a turtle. I've been baby stepping my way, and then every time I get attacked and you know, someone wants to try to kill my name and defame my character and say all kinds of lies, and I want to defend myself, and then God's like, no, you got to bite your tongue, let me do the talking. And then it's like, okay, but what am I supposed to do with all this time and this energy that you're giving me? And he said, put it into healing and make it productive. So I'm making this like video diary process of how I'm evolving into pulling myself out of being a leader within all these various mental health and education and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and adventure crew, like all of the systems, the churches. God pulled me out of all the systems and said, okay, stop co-creating with everybody. You're done co-creating with your family. Everybody are now adults, and you have your grandkids. Yes. Last year I was a mess, crying, trying to conceal it from everybody to be brave, because I realized by being God's servant, I'm going to be used, and I'm going to be moved, and I'm going to be talking and speaking, and I'm going to be doing things that God's called, you know, for me to do. And the light workers and my destiny helpers, what I call them, are going to continue to come into my life to keep me moving forward. But that means that I'm going to be missing out on milestones with my grandbabies. I'm going to miss out on birthdays with my kids. And so that is really hard because that's all I've ever wanted, was just to be, a stay-at-home mom and nurture my family, and, and just be the grandma that sits there and bakes cookies with the kids, and just, has the little garden with the raised flower beds. And I had this whole plan. But I had to go through a massive ego death in June of 2023. It culminated with me starting this business. And now that I've made it this far out into the wilderness, because I was domesticated before, and I knew I was being domesticated, and I was angry about being domesticated. I didn't want to be forced to use my spiritual gifts, pretend I'm not using my spiritual gifts, because, we're not supposed to say God in school, which is totally ridiculous in my opinion. However, I understand legalities of the 3D and technicalities, and I get it, but God is the only one that I serve. So I don't pledge allegiance to anyone or anything except the good Lord above. My ways are very unconventional. That's because my life has been very unconventional. And if you would like to know more, I would love to talk with you, because I'm actually more interested about your story and how I can help. And so if you would like to help me, go ahead and please like, share, subscribe. I really need the funds flowing my way. So thank you so much for reaching out. If you want to know how you can gift me some donations. All right. I will talk with you in my next video. Have a great night.